So today, interesting, there's been so much news. Greenland, Venezuela, investigations of the Fed, of Jack Smith, investigations of the people, the senators and congressmen who suggested to the military that they should disobey or might want to consider disobeying what's considered to be an illegal order. So there's a lot of shit going around. You got the Davos, and you got the Board of Peace, and I'm just the amount of news is staggering. And in the meantime, our douchebag administration is making deals with the second most corrupt person in Venezuela. So there's a lot of confusion that's created by this administration intentionally, because they like chaos. They like the president likes to deal out of chaos. It's a deflector. It's a disruptor. It's harder for people to focus on the real issues like healthcare, the economy, the electric grid, and things like that. But Mr. Big over in Washington and now over in Davos wants to talk about all the great things he's done and all the wars he's stopped. And so there's a lot of horse shit. And some of my viewers want to talk about that horse shit, which is great, because I'm angry about it and I'm pissed off about it. And, even Trump might be able to do a good thing or the right thing from time to time, but his attitude and behavior and his mannerism is disgraceful. He's a disgusting human being. His administration is filled with additionally corrupt and disgusting human beings. And, it's hard really to track down what is good that he's done or might have done or might get done. So let's talk about that. And as you know, I'm here in Dallas, and Dallas is in panic mode because they might get 2-3 inches of snow. So I don't know what the fuck to do about that either. That's a regional crisis. I don't even know where to begin. Why did we invade Venezuela in the first place? Why are we capturing oil vessels? Why are we, that to me seems counterproductive. If we want the oil flowing, then what is it? We just want to steal it for ourselves? So I'm not quite sure what all the goals are there, but the Venezuelan administration has been corrupt for years. Now that Maduro's gone and his second in command is there, it's going to be worse. So I don't know if any net positive came out of that. Executives from Exxon said it's Venezuela in its present state is uninvestable. So why would it be investable now that Maduro's gone and his administration and regime still continues? I think that's a fair question from the leaders of Exxon, and at least they're asking it. I think when we invaded Panama, it didn't work out that great. And again, there's short-term, mid-term, long-term solutions and issues, but I'm not sure that the government, as it stands now, is responsible for creating a better long-term functioning set of circumstances. Burning shit down and taking things over and threatening to invade and not to invade. We're not going to invade. It's almost like he's trying to decide if he's going to have a McDonald's burger or the fillet of fish. It's just, following the idiocy and the market going up and down based on the president's mood, at least to me, doesn't seem to make a hell of a lot of sense. Throwing wrenches into the operations of the economy, globally and nationally, I don't know how that advances the cause or advances any kind of quality or beneficial change in the way things operate in our own country. It just increases the volatility. And, again, with volatility, for most people, it's not that exciting and not that good, and it's costly. And there are traders that make money just because of volatility. And they're okay because they're in the business of betting either way. But most people really like stability. And volatility is the exact opposite of stability. People like to have a job that they know is going to be there tomorrow, and they want to send their kids to school, and they want to get medicine, and they want simplicity and they want stability. And right now, we have neither. And I'm not talking about being a welfare state or a socialist nation. There are people and groups of people that need help, and all people should be treated respectfully. And there needs to be some kind of blanket or some kind of safety net system, and it should be public-private, in my opinion. But, there's less of that going on, and just more rancorous, divisive stupidity, and, chasing down, quote, the agitators. Well, I don't know. I don't think being an agitator is illegal. Doing criminal things is illegal, but, just speaking your mind and being an agitator, that doesn't rise to the occasion of arresting people because they have a different point of view or a different opinion. And, they've done this with the shit that's going on in Minnesota. And, ICE is now some kind of brutal KGB operation. And it's disgraceful. And again, I'm all for legal immigration, and certainly not pro-illegal immigration. But there's a line between good behavior, reasonable behavior, and really bad behavior. People and illegal immigrants even don't deserve to and should not be brutalized just to be returned to their homelands. So, these kinds of things, and again, there's lots of them. I think I just rattled off 10 or 12 different circumstances. And then we have the president over in Davos and wherever talking about the Board of Peace. Half the nations that should be on a Board of Peace, which is kind of like the UN 2.0, but there are a lot of people that don't want to sign on in a lot of countries because of the way our president conducts himself. Again, that volatility causes instability. And again, I end up talking about Trump all the time because he's an asshole, and he's got such a big fucking mouth. It's just not the way to be the president. And again, I'm not a policymaker, but you're running a nation with diverse population and diverse talents, and we got to live in a world that's progressively more and more automated and technologically advanced, more automated. But we're running out of energy. China's building 10, 20 electric plants. We're building 1, 2. We can't keep up because we don't know how to keep up. We're not, again, look, China's a dictatorship, and Trump is trying to be a dictator, but he can't be because of the way things are today. But at any rate, we do need to adjust our thinking, and arguing and fighting and bullying and demanding is not going to get us where we need to be. And that is to be part of a world where Technology is important. Energy is important, critically important. But we need to be respectful of the planet we live on and the people who live on it with us. And, I just don't know that dictatorships are suited for that. China's got problems with its population being as big as it is, but it's not sustainable because nobody's having babies. And they have their own financial problems. What they can do, though, is with their form of government, things could be mandated by the government and they get done. Our setup is a little bit different, but what we ought to be doing is the Democrats, Republicans, left, right, people should be sitting down trying to solve longer term problems in a somewhat more harmonious way. At least try. And you can't just go around investigating or imprisoning people that don't agree with you. That to me is really kind of where we're headed. I mean, if you look at what's going on in Minnesota and so forth, and Mark Kelly, a decorated senator, being tied up by the Hegseth, the Department of Secretary of War, wants to crucify a former medal-winning patriotic American because he doesn't think that soldiers should be instructed to do illegal things and should be notified that they're not bound to do things that are illegal. And again, why would our Secretary of War, or formerly called the Secretary of Defense, why would he want to spend his time persecuting a former hero? Just for the publicity, for the fun of it? It's a sickness that this administration has, and it projects in every department, whether it's education or defense / war, or the Fed, or the Treasury. And I don't think we really realize as Americans in what a precarious situation we're in. And we're not making friends, we're beating up our friends. And that's no way to function, because being alone is not a lot of fun. And being alone without the resources that individuals need or that our country needs is going to be a lot less fun. So I think the guys in Washington have to stop kissing Trump's ass and get to work and trying to figure out ways that they could advance America on the world platform and nationally, so that this ugliness ceases to continue, and that way maybe we could get down to the real business. So I think I have some questions from some listeners, viewers. Sarah?
Yes, we have Matt who wants to know what's happening with Elon Musk and the robots taking over.
Oh, Elon. Elon was on CNBC today, and he was talking about how humanoid robots are going to be taking over. As a matter of fact, he projects there'll be more robots than humans. It's kind of odd. I mean, keep putting humans out of business and out of work and out of functioning. I guess we'll all just be, like Jell-O nodes sitting on the dining room table. It's fantastic that these things can happen, and it's scary as shit when you talk about robots and AI and a robot with a bad attitude versus a robot with a good attitude. I don't know. It sounds kind of dangerous and scary to me. And what's worse is that he also wants to talk about and promote longevity. Well, I have my own thoughts on that. I have no desire to live to 150. I think I've said it before. And I think people that want to live to 150 want to have stuff to do. So having more robots around isn't going to help. So, we're heading down a path. We don't know what it looks like, 10, 20 years out, but it's pretty scary in and of itself. And since Elon has the most money in the world, and he's a brilliant guy and creative guy, I don't know, is he a good witch or a bad witch? So, yeah, Elon, good luck. And to the people of the world, humans of the world, let's be careful. Let's be circumspect about this, quote, advancement of technology for the benefit and good for all. It's got to be bullshit. Next.
All right. We have nearly 1 in 8 seniors that are over 65, and they have already returned to work or plan to rejoin the workforce in 2026. And this is stated to be driven by high living costs, inflation, and inadequate retirement savings, with 16% reporting that they have never retired, and many older adults are opting for part-time, remote, or gig work for some financial stability and to combat boredom. What do you think about this?
All right, so that's a multiple point kind of question. My initial thoughts are people shouldn't retire. You may change what you do, but retirement and as a goal is dead. And even the richest of the rich never retire. They just take on other projects and do other things. So retirement is, to me, a stupid goal. It's what, when you talk about society advancement and robots and all this stuff, retirement was, years ago when people had to physically work hard and, break their backs, trudging around on a daily basis just to make money to eat and have a roof over their head. I can understand why retirement was such an important concept. Now, with all the advancement that's gone on, I know this, that when in my world, all the people that I had counseled about insurance matters and retirement matters died very shortly after they retired. I just don't see the benefit of retirement. Change is what they should be looking to. Can I fund my future change? And whether I think that change should involve working, and if you don't need the money, you could work for less money. If you do need the money, you could work for the maximum amount of money you could find at a job that suits you. But retirement is an ancient goal. And it's funny because all the wealth planning firms and banks advertise retirement and retirement planning. I think it's a very odd concept in the world we live in. The rich people just do what they want. The poor people can't ever stop working. The middle class has the goals of the wealthy, but they don't have the resources. They have more resources than the poor, obviously, but that's a minority. And those people need to fund for a life change and not necessarily retirement. Retirement has the wrong connotation. I'm pro-work, pro-people, and in that regard, anti-robot. Next.
In 2026, Gen Z includes people born between 1997 and 2012. What do you think about Gen Z these days?
Gen Z, they're left with a pile of crap to deal with. They're lazy and confused in terms of the workforce. And I really hope that they find some direction. And that's probably the hardest thing for them, to find mentorship. And it's part of the weakened educational system from that time through that time period till now. Universities are being weakened. The fear, the old McCarthyism fear that they're too left-wing. And COVID, where kids didn't get the greatest basic educations for a few years. And, all these things compound, and I think that Gen Z, or what is it, Gen Z?
Gen Z,
Yeah.
sorry, and I'm going to give you the ages. They are 14 to 30 years old.
Yeah, and depending on where you are in that spectrum, it's pretty evident that you've had a weaker infrastructure because of the declining ability of the educational system to keep up and to keep people educated and interested in being educated. And so somehow it's not that Gen Z's fault, but they are not in a position to really advance themselves on a large scale basis. I mean, they don't know what to do. They don't really know how to do it. And of course, you're going to have the standouts. There are standouts in every generation. But generationally speaking, Gen Z has a hard road in front of them.
A listener wants to ask, how's your 2026 so far?
2026 is great. I'm still here. I'm not worrying about 3026. And I like to work, and I like to run my mouth. So I'm having a good time. And I'm watching all the people around me doing what they got to do. And life is a little bit of a battlefield. So you have to, of a minefield and a battlefield, you have to duck and roll. You got to be able to change and adapt. And the only other thing I add to that is that, you got to go forward. There's no sideways is of no help, and backwards can't be done. So, I like the TV shows from when I was a kid, but it's a real job to find them now. And I don't see anybody producing any new quality stuff or wholesome stuff or fun stuff. Everything is serious and ugly, and that's what you see on the movie screens, on the TV screens. So I think life gets harder and harder, and it's not because of my aging. It's just because of what society considers advancement, and it kind of doesn't lay right with me. There's more stupidity now than ever, and it kind of makes sense because we have a bonehead orange monster for a president, and he doesn't care about anything other than lining his own pockets and fighting with Norway because he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. So he's, we're living with some delusional moron running the country. So, so Gen Z, I apologize, and I wish you the best. And for old timers like me, I don't want to live forever. I hope you live well. I hope you don't live forever, but I hope you live well for as long as you live. And that's what I have to say about 2026, because we're in it whether we like it or not, and take it one day at a time. Anything else, Sarah?
Final question from a listener. What is on your bucket list?
I've ignored my bucket list for so long. And that's a question that's almost impossible for me to answer in the public venue. It's a hard one for me. But watching my daughter finish college, my oldest building his business, and my youngest becoming the golfer that he wants to become. So that's my bucket list, and at least part of my bucket list.
Final thoughts are, any advice that you have for Texans bearing the 3 inches of snow we're about to get this upcoming weekend?
So are we talking about Texans in a panic?
Yes.
It's laughable. Isn't that why they have guns? They got more guns in Texas than anything. But you know, Texans and a little bit of snow don't mix. And when I was a kid, I remember seeing those old cowboy shows where they'd ride off into the sunset in the dead of winter chasing Indians. And they seemed to handle the snow and cold pretty well back then. Nowadays, everybody's in a panic, you know, emptying grocery store shelves and screaming about the weather like it's the Super Bowl. And you know, it's really nothing to panic about. If you're afraid to go out, don't go out. You probably shouldn't go out and drive around if the weather is that inclement. And stay home. Put the heat on and pray that the electric situation and gas situation will keep your heat on for you. But other than that, don't take it so hard. It's not a problem. It's not a crisis. And I laugh when because it's, you know, now it's 24/7 that Texas might get some ice and snow. Like it's the biggest news and the most important news in the world. So I laugh at it, and I laugh at the Texans that take it so seriously that they have to panic. So I'm going to go home and stay home and watch TV, listen to music, read. You know, and I think that's all you can do if it's that bad out. Anything else?
How do we watch and listen and subscribe to your show?
How do we what? Oh, how do we listen to this show? Almost anywhere, right? You could tell me. Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Right, Sarah?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so you should watch the show and subscribe to my channel, subscribe to YouTube, my YouTube channel, and also buy some merchandise to help support the North Texas Food Bank. I mean, we should do our part in helping others. I know you got it in you somewhere, and the merch is high quality, and you know, nobody's making a profit on it. All the money's going to the charity. So please consider buying merch and supporting the North Texas Food Bank.